Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending, I suppose. Uh, Welcome to another Cheap Comic Collector. My name's Rob, and today I am going to show you what I do with my coverless comics. Got a box of coverless comics recently, and some of them I can do this with, some of them I can't. But what I do is I create facsimile covers uh, from the internet of just using the stuff I have at home already. And so we're going to go step by step through that. We're going to create one together. Here's a few. We're going to look at a few of the ones I've already done, and should be fun. And this probably isn't something everybody wants to try and do, but I like doing it. Instead of just throwing them away or throwing them in the garbage or whatever you want to do with them, um, I'd like it's very satisfying to do this for me. So anyway, we're going to switch over to the other camera here, and you can see what I'm working with. And there it is. We are going to start with, let me turn this light off here so you don't have that glare. We're starting with Bugs Bunny number 66 from 1959 is the one we're doing today. I already counted the pages. It's all here. And something else I did is I took the original staples out. I don't normally do that, but in this case they were corroded and they were damaging the book. You can see the little discoloration happening around where the staples were. The pages were starting to rot a little bit, and so forth. And this comic is not in the best of shape. It's got a wormhole in it where something ate its way through it, and when it was in a barn or something at some point. It's got little rips along the spine and so on and so forth. But it's just going to keep deteriorating and get worse and worse if we don't do something about it. So we're going to create a cover. So first thing to do is find out if you can find the covers, because I want a facsimile. I don't want just a page of the cover. I want the cover, I want the inside cover, I want the inside back cover, and I want the back cover. So for me to do this, I want to find all four of those. And luckily, there's this cool site that's called batcave.biz. So BATCAVEBIZ. And we're going to take you over there right now. So that's what this is, batcave.biz. And this is one of those sites where you can find pretty much all the new releases as they come out if you wanted to read them that way. But there's also tons of older material on here that you can read. They're just posted on there, and the comic book companies don't seem to care. These sites have been around for years, and nobody really talks about them. But we're looking for Bugs Bunny, so we're going to type in Bugs Bunny up here. And we got the DC Bugs Bunny. We got the Dell Bugs Bunny Monthly, Bugs Bunny Christmas Funnies, Superman and Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny, Legion of Superheroes Bugs Bunny Special. All right. Well, they've got the Dell issues going up to 243, so I think they included the Whitman and Golke ones in that. So we're going to click on that. It gives you a little overview of the title, and then up here there'll be chapters. So if you hit chapters, it'll just show you a list of all the different issues, and it can go for like this one for 243 issues. It's got 4 pages of material. So I'm gonna guess we're going to page 3. Yep, issue 66. So this is issue 66 of Bugs Bunny. It was a Dell. I was thinking it wasn't. It would have been a Golke or a Whitman, but it's not. It was a Dell. And so we got the cover. We got the inside front cover. And then if we scroll all the way through the whole thing, excuse me, hopefully we'll have everything we need. And so there's the inside cover and the back cover. So perfect, just what we want. So we're gonna go back up to the top again. Oops. They have a very small slider on this site that's a little bit difficult to get right and use. There we go. All right, so what I do, the way I grab these is a little bit different. Instead of just right-clicking and saving, I ran into some problems doing it that way because they wouldn't always print correctly. You know, they would format okay, everything looked okay, and I couldn't find anything wrong. But when it came time to print them, it would print them extra large and not the way I told them to print them. So I've learned to basically just grab the photo instead of downloading their copy. It's better to just grab the photo. So on my laptop, which I bought within the last year, on the print screen, if I press the print screen here, it actually gives me the option of just grabbing a picture off the internet or even a video off the internet. In this case, we're just going to outline the cover like so. And hopefully this is nicely squared up. And that's just an ad that pops up. And I think I got it. Usually I get a confirmation. I'm going to grab it again just in case. I didn't. In case it gave me part of that stupid ad instead of what I wanted. Because you're grabbing whatever's on the screen. So you want to make sure your cursor's not in the way or anything like that. But it wouldn't be because you're using your cursor to grab the photo. So, all right. So I've got the cover. We're going to get the inside page. And because of that slider is hard to use on this site, sometimes it's easier just to use your arrow keys. So hit print screen again. Going to outline that page. And it looks like they actually left the borders on this one. So that's good because sometimes they will, when they scan it, they clip it. They clip out all the extra space and just show the art. And that's that makes it much harder to work with because then you have to measure the size of the art instead of the size of the page, and makes it a little bit of guesswork to try and get it to line up properly the way you want it to, the way it would have originally appeared in the comic book. All right, so here's the inside back cover. We're going to hit print screen again and grab that. And if you don't have this feature, you could right click, save it, and like put that on a like Word document and then save the picture again so that you have a clean copy to work with, just in case it's formatted wrong. Sometimes they print correctly, sometimes they don't. So, and then we're going to do it one more time for the back cover. And sorry, I'm just trying to get the cursor lined up right there. It wasn't moving. There we go. And we got the back cover. So I no longer need this website. So we're going to take that down. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring up a new Word document. I use Office Word 2007. It's an old version that was free. I believe now they charge for stuff, so this has always worked well for anything I've ever needed it to do. And I have a copy on disk that I just, whenever I get a new computer, I go ahead and install the old version. All right, so what we want to do here is, first thing is, you see these rulers on the top and the side of this document. And so you're going to use that to measure out the size of the comic. So what we're going to do right now, and also, is you want to go to page layout, you want to go to margins. Now I have a custom setting margin of 0.12 for the top, left, bottom, and right, so that no matter what size cover I'm working with, it will fit on the page of a standard, piece of paper. And so you can see that change when I hit the margins. In that way, you're much closer to the ruler, so it's easier to work with the pictures. Then we're going to go to Insert, and we're going to hit Picture. And then that brings me to my screenshots folder, which is where those pictures go when I grab them off the internet. And now you can see those in there. And I got 2 copies of the Bugs Bunny one so it did grab it right the first time. But we're going to grab the first 2 because the way this is set up, well, you know what? If I pull this over, I can grab them all 4 at the same time. So I'm actually going to do that. Boom. We now have all 4 pictures in that document. Now, if you, one thing, you'll see how it lands on the last document. Like this document right now has been clicked on, like I'm working with that picture. So if you were going to add more, you would have to click off of this to get that to go away, because otherwise when you add more, it will write over that last page, and at some point you'll be like, where'd the page go? So if you can grab them all 4 at the same time, then you don't really have to worry about that. It's easy to do that. In fact, I just figured out that I could make that window bigger so that I could grab them all at the same time. So here we have the cover. I didn't line up the cursor quite correctly. You can see that black strip at the top. So I'm going to click on it. So I'm working with that photo. Go up to Picture Tools, hit that. And over here on the right, we got the crop button. So we're going to hit the crop button. That will change the edge so that we can just shrink the photo down and get rid of that black strip at the top. Didn't quite get rid of all of it. Going to do it again. And there we go. All right, so we got that. And I'm going to go back over here. And we're going to measure the comic. And you really need to measure whatever comic you're working with, because there will be rollover, like this one. There's a rolled spine, which I'm not going to take the time to fix because it's an old ratty comic. It doesn't really matter. And so my back cover is actually probably going to be possibly a little bit bigger than my front cover, but or smaller, I should say. But that doesn't really matter, because you just want the bigger piece, right? Because you want to cover both ends, both sides of it. So, but you do have to measure, because you don't really know what that size is going to be without checking it. So we got 7¼ inch plus a little tiny bit more. I usually do both, because with the rolled spine, it'll be a little bit different. The bottom, we got 7¼ so we needed 7¼ and a little tiny bit more than that going that way. I'm just gonna write that on a post-it note. So I don't have to do I don't have to measure it again. And then this way, we did do that way. We got to do the long way. We've got 10 1/4. Looks like, yeah, just about 10 1/4. So 7 1/4 by 10 1/4 are the size we need. And we're going to go back to that Word document. And we're going to click on that picture again. The ruler appears. And we're going to line this up to 7 1/4, which should be right there. And then we're going to scroll down to check the length. And it looks like we're just short of 10. So we need to extend that a little bit to 10 1/4. And which is right there, I believe. And I actually said we needed a little more than 7. So we're going to actually bring that out a little bit. A little bit higher than that or wider. Because one thing you don't want to do is have, like, you want to try to avoid having the white strips around the cover that you're printing out. So if you make it just a hair bigger, it'll help, because your cutting's probably not going to be quite precise. And then we got the Bugs Bunny one, and you can see just a hair bit of color at the top of that where I did not trim that one correctly either, even though I tried real hard. And you can see a black strip over on this side. So we're going to hit that picture tools button again and crop this one as well. And I'm actually going to go over here and do on the corner, because I want to bring it down, and I want to bring it in. There we go. All right, so as you can see, you can't really, until you click on the picture, you can't really see where the outline of the photo is, because it's white on white. But that's okay. And for some reason, I'm not getting my ruler. There it is. All right. So we're just going to move this to match. In the same place we have the other one, because you want them all to line up when you print them and when you go to cut them. And then we ended up on this one, we ended up where 10 1/4. For some reason, it keeps not showing me the ruler on the side. There it goes. I haven't had that problem before, but I don't usually work with them this close to the ruler either. I just discovered that yesterday, that it was easier to do that. So yeah, 10 1/2. And so we're going to go down here, and we're going to click to get the ruler to show up, hopefully. And yeah, we need to come down just a little bit. Right about there. And this one doesn't have to be quite as precise because of the white on white. It's not really going to matter when you go and trim it. It's just all going to be white anyway, for the most part. And then you continue to do that with the other ones. Again, I got that black strip on the side. So I didn't do that right. Usually I do a better job of cropping these. Get that out of there. And once again, hit that. Bring it down a bit so you can see the previous page. That way you can line it up perfectly with the first page there at 7 1/4. And then down below, we are at, once again, not quite 10 1/4, so we're going to bring it down a little bit. And then the last one, Travelo, the fascinating game with the magnetic counters that stay put. Okay. And we're going to go up to do the same thing. We're going to line that up with the previous page. And we're a little short. And now we're a little too big. That's okay. We wanted it to be a hair over, and it's white, so it's not going to matter. And then down below, we want 10 1/4. We are way down at 10 1/2 for some reason, so we're going to bring that back. What about there? Oh, goody, pop-ups. I hate Copilot. Please go away. And that should do it. We've got them all lined up. Now, the last step that you do with this, and one of the most important, because I'll forget to do this, and then it messes up, and I have to reprint. And ink's expensive. The glossy paper isn't cheap either. You want to only do it in one try if you can. So you go back up and you click on that first picture. You go back to home in the Microsoft Word, and then right here in the middle, you can hit this button that will center everything. So you hit that, it centers it on the page for when you're going to print, and normally it centers everything after that as well. So the other ones are centered. I've learned to double check that because I have clicked on the wrong one, thinking I did click on it, and then only like 2 of the pages are centered and the other ones come out wrong. So last step, make sure you center those pages. And for some reason we became uncentered, so we're gonna hit that again. Don't know why I did that. If I accidentally clicked on something, and we're centered again. So then you go to your printer properties, right? So you hit print, brings up whatever your printer is. I'm using an HP Envy 5000 series. That's the one I told you about that I got at Walmart that will print the double-sided without me actually having to manually do anything. And I did put 2 pages of double-sided glossy paper in the printer before I started doing this. Before I started doing this video. So that way I wouldn't have to leave and go put them in the printer, because the printer's in my bedroom. So we're gonna we did that. So we go to properties, and it's on plain paper. We want to turn it to glossy paper, and then hit layout. It will ask you if you want to print on both sides, and there should be some version of this for whatever software you're using, whatever printer you have. It may be in a different spot. So we want to flip on the long edge so that it works like a book and not like a notepad. And then you hit OK, and we should be good to go. So we're going to hit OK. It should start printing in the other room. It's going to take a while because it's basically 4 full-size photos that it's printing. So I'm not going to delete this yet until I know that it's turned out okay. But I will bring you back to my desktop again. So that we can continue talking about the comic. Now, before the show, I started filming this episode and I had to stop because I needed to help someone in the other room. And but in the first part of that episode of that filming, what I did was I took the staples out, like I said, because it was damaging the book. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the covers, the front and the back, on this. I'm going to trim them, then I'm going to put it on this, and then I'm going to staple the whole thing anyway. So it's going to get restapled in a little bit different way. And it will basically look like these, which I've already done. So this is Nellie the Nurse, number 31. This turned out really nicely. They do print out all the flaws that are in the photos, everything that's there. It's going to print it out. So you can expect that. But I kind of like that because it is an old book. It adds some character to it. So this one's Bugs Bunny. This is a Dell 4-color number 307 Lumberjack Jack Rabbit, and it had some staining in there that printed out. It's got some you see little white spots where the cover was missing. Where there's little chunks that had come out. So you still have a strong cover, but it just shows white there. Because there was nothing there for it to print in the picture, right? So these turned out really nicely. I'm very happy with some of these. There are a couple I've done where the picture's kind of muddied. I believe that's because instead of the person scanning the cover, they were working with a photograph or microfiche or something like that, and it just kind of didn't do very well. But this is Secret Hearts number 55. And these were all coverless. I have tons and tons more here to go. And some of them, like I said, I can't, the pages aren't there. The covers aren't there. I can't do yet the facsimile one. This one, you can see where I messed up the spacing on the bottom. Was before I realized that I needed to look at that one, because you can see where they've actually trimmed the page, and so it just automatically put it at the top, and I should have measured the art inside the book and figured out the differences and made it smaller, and brought it down. And there's a way to do that. We're not going to go into that today, but there is a way to do that in the picture controls. Modeling with Modeling with Millie, number 21. This one turned out really nice too. Pretty spaced quite well, and everything. So, and then this is Leave It to Binky, number 19 from BC. You can see especially the white spots on this one. I didn't have this one cut quite right, so it didn't quite cover the bottom. I trimmed it a little bit too much. But part of that again is because of the roll that's in it. It was a lot worse actually. I think this is the one that I actually put in the press to fix the spine roll on it. But I was impatient, and I think I took it out too soon. So it sprang back a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of what they look like. And I've done more. I just did an Archie one yesterday that I showed on Metarog's channel, and now I can't find it. And I really wanted to show that one because I animated the cover as an ending for this show. So I guess I will attempt to animate the Bugs Bunny one instead. I think it ended. It must have got stuck into the boxes from the 1960s that I was showing on Metarog's show with the regular comics. Well, which is normally where I would put it, but I wanted to use it today, and now I don't exactly know quite where it is. So anyway, we are almost done. Just waiting for those covers to print, stalling for time a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this ruler down as a time marker. And I'm back. Um, so as you can see, it printed out. It's got all the miscoloring on there and flaws and so forth. But it's also, did a great job of printing this out. And while I was waiting for it to print, I was reading the first page because that had already finished printing. And I read this back, and this Travelo game is actually a Dell Comics Premium. If you look at it closely there, you can see Dell Comics are good comics on the border of the game board. And so this was actually a premium you would get with your subscription. If you send them $1.20 for one of these subscription titles, then they would send you that as a free gift, basically. So if you see one of these, it says Dell Comics are good comics on it, grab it. And if you don't want it, send it to me. But who knows if any of those actually still exist or not? It would be a cool thing to have. But Anyway, it did a great job. You can see all the staining and stuff that was in the scan, and of course that's going to print out. I don't mind that at all. In fact, I kind of like it. If this was pure white, it wouldn't really match the patina of the old book. It would just be kind of like, oh yeah, it's cool, but it's not quite. It I like it better if it matches. So we'll just put it that way. Um, so now the next thing is to cut it to fit the comic. So I have a cutting board. I got this off of Amazon sometime this past year. Didn't cost very much. I don't remember what it did cost. But we're actually going to cut both pages at the same time. That's why it was important that we have them lined up, and it's important that we do them at the same time so that they match up exactly as possible. And this thing is it's got magnets on it to go to the metal plate and kind of help hold the page in place. And we're just going to cut it. And it didn't do a very good job of holding it in place. See that bowed on me a little bit. And I had to redo it, but we got it done. And now we can line up pretty much perfectly. And this is why if it's squared, it's going to turn out great. If it's not, well, it's the best we can do. So we're off just a little bit. And that looked like it went really well. And the last side. All right, so did that pretty good. We didn't lose much color on the strips, just a little bit of a, pardon the pun, a little hair over there. And we should be done with that unless we did something wrong. So I'm going to put that away. We bring the comic back out and try to line them up, see how we did. So put it this way. And it's actually sticking out past that cover. And why is it doing that? So not quite there as much as I would like. For some reason I'm short the width. So I've got, I am much shorter than 7 1/4 for some reason. I must not have lined it up right. Or I trimmed off more than I thought I did, but I don't think so. So somehow I screwed the measuring up a little bit, or the lining up of the book in the Word document actually. But I'm not going to print it again because that's a big process to go through, and this will protect the book. So, and then I just bring my stapler out. And since I don't have I took the staples out, I don't really have anything to worry about, like hitting the other staple or anything. So I'm going to staple it in basically the exact same spot. The only difference is because I don't have a spine for the covers, there is no yeah, the staples will be on basically on the top. So try to do it so I can get them as close to the edge as I can get. And there we have it. It's all finished. And it looks like I may be off on the trimming a little bit as well. So I could, and I've never done this to one before, but if I trimmed these pages to match the cover, it would not interfere with story whatsoever. So I could do that if I wanted to. I don't think I will, though. So not quite as good as some of my other efforts, but still pretty decent. You know what? Maybe I will trim that. It's bothering me. And like I said, it's just a ratty old coverless comic. What do you do with them? People cut them up. People use them for kindling. People throw them away. They get handed around until they're literally falling apart. You're lucky to find them when there's still all the pages there. So not really hurting anything if I do trim that. But I also don't want to get any viewers mad at me. What do I want to do? I'm going to leave it the way it is. But anyway, that's how it works. That's what I do. Who knows if I would find another copy of this. It's an old 10-cent Dell from the 1960s. And hopefully this makes it where somebody can enjoy this even after I'm gone, because it will still protect it instead of it just falling apart in the newsprint. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you soon.